What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the latest episode of Monday Musings. There's a mess in the bed, I know it. But if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Is that what they say? This is cat sheets and stuff. Middle of rearranging all that stuff today, cleaning floors and stuff like that. And I needed to take a break so I could just pre-record this and get this out the door because it's been a very long day. Um, It's 5:45 Saturday afternoon, June 11th, and I'm pre-recording this for June 13th, Monday, which is the next Monday Musings episode. If this is your first time tuning in, you're a new viewer, welcome to the channel. My Monday Musings videos are my personal space to just hang out, talk, etc. Life, travel, love, all those good things. Bad haircuts, receding hairlines, all that kind of stuff. Um, yeah. So, what do we want to start with today? Let's start with all the new people and everything else. Let's start with the fundraising and full-time YouTube stuff and everything else because I've been really I just want to say thanks for everybody for pitching in. So let's talk cats very quickly because I know that's the big thing. So we asked for $300 in the fundraiser. We raised $490. So thank you so much everybody who helped out with the cat fundraiser. I think we may have mentioned this last week, but I want to reiterate. We're getting the male cat Luke. We're getting him neutered, I should say. I think Chris is going to schedule it at the end of this week for next week, or it might happen this week. I don't know, but he's getting taken care of. The mama cat, we're starting to get an idea of getting her done as soon as getting the babies weaned, and we just went to the vet clinic yesterday and talked to the vet about manually weaning the babies because sooner the better that we can get her spayed. They offered us the option for a shot, which I had no idea that you could do hormone shots for cats, like birth control. But there's a lot of like, they didn't want to give it to her until she's weaned the babies, and it's like at that point you can spay her as soon as she's weaned the babies. So I think we're just gonna, wait until she's weaned the babies and then get her spayed. But apparently the shot can keep them from coming in heat for like 5 to 6 months. Which is interesting. I didn't know that because they offered us that for the baby kitten for Leia, and we were like, no, we could just wait for Leia because we can get her spayed as soon as possible. And they told us that they wanted to wait until she has her first heat cycle, that way to make sure she's fully developed her womb and everything else because they're going to take the ovaries out and everything else. Um, so just we're getting all that stuff locked down. So thanks to everybody who has contributed to that because that money's going towards good use. We're getting cat litter, cat food, taking care of the vet stuff. We've got one baby right now. Today was day 4, I think. She's either got an eye infection or something going on. The the one vet we went to 4 days ago told us that he wouldn't give us any eye drops or anything because they were too young because they were 2.5 weeks old. They hit 3 weeks today as I'm recording this. So, but the problem is, all he said that the vet said, we don't want to give him antibiotics this young, no eye drops or anything like that. You just need to clean the eye with chamomile tea. So we've been doing that every 3 hours. We've been cleaning the eyes, and it's not getting any better. It's also not getting really any worse. The baby doesn't appear to have any problems with her sight. It's just she's definitely got some sort of eye infection going on, where her eyes just get all sticky shut after like 3 or 4 hours, and they're inflamed. Um, but she doesn't seem to be in any major discomfort. She's playing with her brothers and sisters. She has her appetite. She is full of energy. And the only thing is like obviously they're bothering her a little bit because she's been licking her paws and trying to like get to her eyes, and she can't yet because she's not quite articulated enough to do it. But you can tell that the eyes are obviously causing her some discomfort. Probably itching, I would imagine. If I had to guess, it's like pink eye or something. But the thing is like it's not like red or pink. It's just she's got crustiness and every once in a while some yellow eye crust, and we just have to clean her, and her eyes get crusted shut. So we're having to clean her eyes every 3 or 4 hours. I'm going to the other vet. There's only 2 vets in town. These are my options. It's a small town. So if neither one of them will help me, I have no choice but to just do it. So anyway, I'm going to the other vet. If she wakes up tomorrow and her eyes are still bad, I'm going to the other vet and I'm going to say, look, I talked to the other vet. He didn't want to help me out. I've been washing her eyes with chamomile like the other vet suggested. It's still not working. Do you have any sort of eye drops or like an antibacterial ointment or anything else? Because I could always, and I don't want to do this, but when you're on a farm, what a lot of farmers will do is they'll just put something in their eye. They might just take like literally like Neosporin or something and put it on the eyelids. And I could totally do that. It's not Neosporin. It's in Spanish it's Vitacilina. I have no idea what it's called in English. Do I have it here? I know I had a bottle of it somewhere. Um, but it's like Neosporin. It's an antibacterial ointment that you put on cuts and things like that. Anyway, um, I've debated just putting some of that over her eyes, but I don't want to cause any issues, so I've just been trying to only use the chamomile. So I'm a little stressed about that, but it is what it is. So that's the cat update. Um, all your money's going to good use. Thanks to everybody who contributed to the cat fundraising fund. And the fact that we raised $490 out of a $300 ask is fucking amazing. You guys rule. Which gets me on to the next front. I talked about this a little bit last week. I'm gonna show the number here. So that's as of the recording of today, which is on Saturday. So it'll be more by Sunday. I don't know how much more, but it'll be whatever it is on Sunday. Um, I've been working towards becoming a full-time YouTuber. That was something where just after we moved, Chris and I looked at it and went, we can afford to go a few months and we can experiment with this and see if it's realistic to make that happen or not. The only reason it could be realistic is because since we paid cash for this place and we don't have a mortgage and it is in a place where the cost of living is next to nothing, we don't need a lot to pay for the bills. So we looked at the number and said $500 a month is a realistic goal to shoot for, because that covers all the basics. It doesn't give us any savings, but it covers all the basics, you know. And then eventually, if we could start pulling from the Patreon fund, that would be cool. But the Patreon is still growing, and all that money goes to pay towards Nathan, Becca, contract stuff, art from the Unreal store, things of that nature. So we're still a ways out from Joey and I being able to divvy that money up between ourselves. But eventually, we will be able to tap into that. But in the meantime, it's either go look for a part-time job, which I've traditionally always done, some sort of remote position doing marketing or writing or something, or just go full-time on YouTube. And last month we did like $311 without any sort of ask. Like I didn't actually ask for anybody. I just had super I would randomly mention super thanks and everything else, but I wasn't running the meter, right? So at the end of the month we did $311. Um, as of I'm recording this again on June 11th. As of June 11th, I've already made the same amount of money as the previous month, but in 11 days. Thanks to you guys supporting the what you see here, which is really cool. Now, this is a combination. That number is a combination of ad revenue that I get from YouTube for my videos, which is from people tuning in, watching the videos, clicking the like button, commenting, sharing those things so they get up at the algorithm as much as possible. That's also the membership revenue is put in there. So for those of you who have joined the Adventurers Guild, that's in there. This is also anytime someone drops a super thanks on a video, I manually update that as well. And then anytime we're doing a live stream, that automatically tracks any of the super chats and stickers that come in. So when I'm doing a live stream, if you do a super thanks on the video, it goes into that and it automatically increases that value. So we're already 62% into that goal as of the recording of this episode, which is all thanks to you guys and girls and in between who like my content enough to want to support me on YouTube, which is awesome. If this kind of trajectory continues and I can get to a minimum of $500 a month, then that means I'm going to be able to keep producing this type of content on a daily basis and probably do even more. Right now, I'm sort of doing a um, stream in the morning, video in the afternoon, stream in the afternoon, evening. Sometimes that changes somewhat because I've got to still work on the Weave in the Void, and we have stuff going on with that. And if this gets to the point where it gets to $500 a month and beyond, then I'm pretty much just gonna go like I'll just stream most days. Like I'll just stream like an 8-hour shift, which is kind of like what, if you look at Dr. Disrespect, Asmongold, those kind of guys, um, that's what they're doing is they just sit there and they stream for anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, sometimes longer. And they'll stream a game for a little bit. They'll do some chat with their community. They'll do some live reactions to things. And if we can get that to the point where we're $500 a month or more, then that shows that the people actually want me to be online more doing all that stuff. So if you like the stuff I'm already producing and you just would like to see more of it or more of me doing different things, that's how you can make that happen. And those of you who have contributed so far this month, thank you so much. Again, if you're watching this video and you're not sure how you can contribute, the easiest way is on these videos that aren't live, there's a super thanks button right down below. And you can literally just click that super thanks button and it allows you to contribute whatever you want. There's also a join button to join as a member of the Adventurers Guild. Um, Also, you can do the Patreon. I would highly recommend that you do the Patreon, but that doesn't contribute to that number right there. That goes towards the game dev stuff for the Weave in the Void, and that's our Patreon page. Now, eventually, that will contribute to this, but it's not doing so yet because we still have objectives and assets that we have to purchase. We still have contracts um, with Nathan and Becca and so on and so forth. But I wanted to update everybody on that front because it's pretty amazing to me that 11 days into the month and we're already at the same amount of money that we made in the whole month of May, which shows that the trajectory that I need to hit is potentially there. If we can get that to $500 by the end of the month or beyond, then I'm going to consider this a viable new job. Like, I won't go looking for work in July. I'll just have July be another month of content creation and streaming all the time. And hopefully we continue to see the support of everybody out there who enjoys my content. So thanks very much to all of you who have been supporting because you have been making a dream come true. And I'm just really happy that I'm able to produce content that everybody likes. So on that note, I'll shut that off. Thanks, everybody. Most of what we're doing right now is MMORPG related, and it's old MMORPGs, but that's what our community likes to play, so I'm happy with that. I am the exception to that is I'm playing through Assassin's Creed Origins right now. That's single player. I definitely don't get the views on those videos as I do on the other ones. I'm typically doing those on like I did like last week, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning. I was streaming Assassin's Creed Origins, and I want to go through that whole. I'd like to keep the morning sessions like that, where I get up in the morning, I can chat with the community, hang out, do like a live chat session, and then go play a single player game for 2-3 hours, and hang out with everybody for 4 or 5 hours in the morning from like 7 or 8, usually like 7 a.m. until about noon. Um, Saturdays and Sunday mornings we play EverQuest TLP during that time slot. Mondays I have these episodes coming out in the morning, and then I have the Mondays in MMR Mondays in Middle Earth coming out at 11 a.m. Um, and those kind of take the places of streams that I could be doing on Monday mornings. I kind of look at Monday as my day off, but I still produce 2 videos that morning, and you get streaming on Monday nights because we're playing EverQuest on the night times. And I'm pretty much streaming every single night from 5 p.m. onwards. Occasionally I will start earlier. I'll start like around 4 p.m., but pretty much every single night, 5 to 9, 4 to 9, somewhere in that bracket, Central Time. That's the nighttime shift, and then mornings is like 7 to 10, 7 to 11, somewhere in there. So those are the times you can catch me. Typically, I'll play the single players in the morning while just hanging out with people, and then the MMORPG stuff is happening at nights. Um, Obi-Wan. I'm loving Obi-Wan. I know some people have their critiques. Some of those critiques are valid. I don't think any critiques about Reva as Moses Ingram as an actress are legitimate. The character of Reva, there might be some weakness to the writing here and there, but overall, I think the storyline they've done has been very good with Obi-Wan. I've been debating making an episode about this just for the Obi-Wan series, and I may end up doing this later on, but I see a lot of complaints about people who are like, this isn't the Obi-Wan that I knew and loved, and this is bullshit, and I can't watch this because they're ruining Star Wars and they're ruining Obi-Wan. No, they're not. This is a brilliant storyline of a man who fell so far from the heights that he was when he was part of the Jedi Order and he was a general and he was one of the most respected men in the Republic, in everything. And then seeing his entire Jedi Order wiped out, and then him having to literally kill his best friend, his brother, because he fell to the dark side, and then watch all of the Jedi Order get completely taken out, and then having to take this kid and go off into hiding and just spending 10 years completely cut off from the Force and becoming a shell of the man he once was. Like, that is a brilliant, the way his character has gone through the show so far up to episode 4. That arc of that redemption arc has been so amazing from a storytelling perspective. I have found zero flaws in that at all. And I see some people who are like, "That's not the Obi-Wan I knew. The Obi-Wan I knew would have been able to like wave his hand and I'm like and do this, that, or the other." And I'm like, "Did you not see the first episode when so and so was falling and he was really struggling to reconnect with the Force because he hadn't touched it in 10 years?" Spoiler alert! I should have said that beforehand. Sorry about that. Um, like that's an evidence of his mental state. He is a broken man who's not in the place that he once was. And that redemption arc has been so good. So if you haven't been watching that, get prepared. I'm about to start getting up to speed with all the shows. Chris and I, we were moving, getting set up at the new place, getting the internet set up, getting into our new things. We're about to start getting into our new shows. Um, Getting back into the swing of watching shows again, I should say. I think tonight's Saturday night, and I don't have any streams planned on Saturday nights. Those are kind of like my nights with the wife because I'm already doing a stream in the morning with TLP, and then I'm doing a stream with Nathan in the afternoon for EverQuest too. So Saturday nights are Chris time, Chris and I, and we're looking at getting back into our shows, and so we've got to catch up on the last season of The Last Kingdom. There's the new season of Stranger Things. Those are the two shows that she likes to watch. Then on my front, I've been watching Obi-Wan, but I need to get caught up on Star Trek Picard season 2, The Expanse final season, the most recent season of Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Love, Death and Robots season 3. Like there are a lot of shows that I need to get caught up on and put those reviews up here on YouTube, even though I'm behind the times on those. But I find that there is a subsection of my community who likes those types of things. It's not a big, obviously, our big videos are always going to be the Rings of Power videos and the MMORPG stuff, but we do have a lot of people who, who do appreciate the movies, the show reviews and stuff, and the Mondays in Middle Earth. Um, so more of that's coming. Let's top homeowner front because this will be a fun one. Excuse me. So moving into a place out in the middle of nowhere um, that was built 20 years ago, and there's no code down here. Things are just built differently, and I've openly said, I struggle with some of the ways that they do things down here. And I'm not trying to be an insensitive, you know, North American gringo trying to tell people how to do their stuff, but I also worked in construction for 20 plus years as a third generation ceramic tile and natural stone contractor, and I understand, and then I did high end residential along with some commercial work, but mostly my personal career focused on high end residential. And so I know what a home built to code and built to spec and on the high end of the spectrum looks like. So there have been things like when the first thing we had to do when we got moved in was get the wiring redone because the wiring was done for lights. It was done for people to have lights in the house and maybe plug in a few appliances. The wiring was not set up to run air conditioners, to run, lots of appliances, to run modern hardware. I mean, I've got just in this office, we've got the air conditioner is on its own circuit, and then I've got the rest of the office is on its other circuit because we've got there's easily $10,000 worth of equipment in here if you factor in all the stuff like webcams, two laptops, the monitors, the keyboards, the camera equipment from our travel blog career, um, all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff here, and so it needs to be on its own dedicated breaker. And so we had to get all that done so that you could, you know, have your stuff be protected as possible. Um, so it's been that kind of stuff. So our recent I've showed you guys the wall over there where it's just the pipe stuff is just so old that it all needs to be replaced. All the plumbing needs to be replaced, all the pipes. And we've just been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Well, yesterday I'm sitting here streaming P99. It's like 7:30 at night, and Chris is like, "Hey, I need you to come take a look at something." And okay. She doesn't come bother me unless it's something important when I'm streaming. So I told everybody I had to go AFK, and I went outside. And in the morning, we had seen like a patch of the dirt outside of the house that was wet, and we just kind of went. We didn't really pay any mind to it. We both saw it. Neither one of us commented on it to the other person. We just kind of went, "Huh." Well, by 7:30 at night, it had gone from being a small patch to being a 4 foot wide wet patch in the dirt and a like 2 inch wide hole where there was actively water coming up out of the ground, which signifies, oh shit, there's a leak down there somewhere in a pipe. Now we got to figure out what's going on. Thankfully, it's an intake pipe, not an outtake pipe. So pipes like this, that's why the water's coming up continually because it's the intake. If it was an outdoor, if it was the plumbing issue, you wouldn't have that, but you'd have seepage and you'd have nasty, nasty, nasty gray water coming up. So thankfully, it didn't smell anything else. We're like, okay, that's just an intake thing. Um, so we get the shovel and we start digging down, thinking that we're going to be digging down a couple feet, maybe a few feet, because in the US there's code and it has to be down a certain amount of feet. We literally dug down 6 inches and I hit something and I was like, oh, what the hell? And then like water started coming out more than before. And I went, oh, that's a pipe. That's weird that it's down that shallow. So then we excavate it all out, and I'm looking at it going, this is the most interesting thing I've ever seen. So the intake pipe is not a pipe. It's not copper tubing, it's not PVC, it's not a pipe. There is a pipe stub out coming out from underneath the sidewalk area that goes around the house, and that goes underneath the kitchen to the kitchen sink. But where the metal pipe stubs out from underneath the house, it's literally a rubber hose connected to it with a metal screw clamp. I have never in my life seen an intake pipe be anything other than a pipe. Whether it's copper pipe, plastic PVC pipe, I've always seen it be pipes. This is a hose. It's literally a hose. A 20-year-old hose that is starting to rot. And on the outside, it was literally, it burst a hole. And the reason it did this is because 2 days ago, Chris got tired of low water pressure in the house, and she's like, I'm going to go outside and turn the water intake up a little bit so we have better pressure in the house. Now, because of all these pipes leaking, we've purposely kept that down until we can get all this stuff fixed. Because when we start to increase the pressure, these wall fixtures, the drain stuff, all the connections here in the wall start leaking. And if you keep the pressure low, it seeps rather than leaks. So until we get a chance to get a plumber in here to take care of all that stuff, we've just been keeping the water pressure a little low, which just means when you take a shower, you don't have the best water pressure, you know. But she wanted to take it up a little bit, so she turned it on. And whenever we increased the pressure, that rotten old hose just decided to sprout a leak. Now, it's not a big leak, but like enough that it was spraying everywhere and causing that. So last night was trying to fix that, not being able to fix it, waiting and turning all the water off to the house, and waiting until this morning where she could go to the plumber and get parts. And we've given it a temporary patch now, which it's no longer spraying, but we've found it to be impossible to completely seal it with the materials that the plumber had available. Um, like Chris wanted to get like a tire patch kit, and we weren't able to do that because they don't sell that stuff. The normal solution when you fix a hose is you cut the hose and you cut the hose off, you cut the damaged part out, and you're left with that. And you put the, you buy a piece of pipe, it's like a little copper tube, stuff it in one end of the hose, stuff it in the other end of the hose, and you put clamps on either side, and that's the fix for the hose. But the hose is so rotted that we can't do that because if we try to cut it, it's just gonna disintegrate and turn into chunks, and then we're gonna have a big issue on our hands. So it's taped up and it's as best as we can get it for the moment. It's still seeping water, but it's not spraying water. So the good thing is that the hole that we had to dig is not filling up with water now. It's just moist on the bottom. which then leads to the next step of being a homeowner is now that we saw the condition of that hose, we now have to dig the whole thing out and figure out how far does that hose go? Where does it go to? We're going to have to figure that out because that whole it's already starting to rot in this one place, which means the rest of that hose is ready to burst as well. So it's better to be proactive about it rather than wait until we have a major issue on our hands. So that's part of what's going on here, which is always fun. Being a homeowner now means I can't just call the landlord and be like, take care of this. I actually have to take care of it myself. So Chris and I are, that's an upcoming project. Chicken coop is obviously something that needs to be done, but in the meantime, we went and bought a bunch of chicken wire yesterday, and we put up a temporary enclosure for the chickens, which is just we unrolled chicken wire in like a U-shaped thing and connected it to the fence, and they have a big enclosure now because they're too big for the thing they're living in. Chris is starting to think that 5 of the 6 are going to be roosters, which is not a bad thing. Um, she wanted more egg chickens, obviously, but that means that we're going to get plenty of chicken meat this summer. We're not going to have to go buy chicken for a few months. We'll be able to live off of whatever we harvest from our own chickens. I've never killed a chicken in my life. I grew up on a dairy farm, you know, um, and in terms of the family has a beef ranch right now, but we don't do the killing. You ship it to the meat packer, the butcher shop, and they do that for you. So I've never actually done that part of it. I've reaped the benefits of that. But Chris said she grew up killing chickens and knows how to kill them, dress them, and everything else. So I'm looking forward to being educated in that arena. Um, this is an area that some people might be like, if you're a vegetarian, this might be offensive content to you, and I apologize, but life is the way it is. A lion is not gonna cringe at eating me. A lion will eat me because I'm part of the food chain, and I understand people's moral decisions. But let me come out here and say this in one of these episodes in case I've never said it before. Veganism is a luxury, right? You can only be a vegan or a vegetarian if you live in a first world developed country where you have the option to go to a grocery store and get vegan options for protein and supplements and so on and so forth. If you live in a place like Mongolia, you're not going to get almond butter and peanut butter and supplements and vitamin B supplements. You're going to eat horse meat and you're going to eat potatoes and maybe beets. You're going to eat the things that the nomads eat that they get off of the land, and you're going to eat a lot of horse. It is what it is. Um, so the idea that everyone can be vegan is not realistic. You can be vegan if you have your belief system and if you live in a country where you have the luxury of being that. If you're living in the rest of the world where most of the people live, you eat what nature provides you with, and that means animal products. Now, I've always bought my chicken from the store. This is the first time we're actually going to be producing our own chickens. I also look at, it is a cost scenario. Chickens will eat scraps, so it's more cost efficient to raise your own chickens than it is buying from the store. Also, it's just cheaper. Plus, your chickens will be much bigger and they won't be injected with water, so there won't be water weight. But I've never done that before, so I'm going to be educated this summer on the killing and dressing of chickens. Don't worry, I won't be putting any of that content up on YouTube or TikTok because that would get me banned. But yep, gonna be eating our own chickens sometime at this point, and growing that because we want egg chickens as well. Because we love eggs and farm fresh eggs are really cool. So we're gonna be working towards having that in the backyard. We've also talked about getting a goat or sheep for milk, like a milk sheep or a milk goat, which I may have talked about that before in these episodes. That's not happening for a while though. The big thing is we got to get a chicken coop built, and the carpenter who did the door installation for us was supposed to get back with us by the end of May, and he's been back and he's never got back in touch with us. And Chris says he's probably too busy because he works for the church and he does stuff for everybody at the church. And he even told us when he was doing the door, he's like, I'm like 3 weeks behind schedule on all my other stuff. And he told us it's going to take me a little while to get to you. And he did get back to us pretty quick on the door, but he told us the other stuff would have to wait. He's never gotten back to us, and so Chris is pushing to just buy our own tools, which I'm not against. I'm totally not against. I have not owned tools since I sold all my tools and shut down my construction company in 2007. It's been a long time since I've owned all my own tools, and we have been. I didn't send this to my brother, but I went back. I went out the other day when I bought the chicken wire. I bought 10 snips for the first time, and I haven't owned a pair of 10 snips since 2007. So 10 snips are scissors that you use to cut chicken wire. It'll also cut 10 sheet metal. It'll cut wire, but they're literally scissors that you're used to cut metal and wire. I haven't owned a pair of those in however many years, 15 years. I got a 3 foot, no, a 2 foot, 2 foot level. I got a shovel. I got a rake. I got a hammer. I've been slowly accumulating hand tools again. And the next step is buying um, electric tools so that I can actually do construction stuff around the house. So we've been looking at where does that fit into the expenses category and how do we budget for that. Um, so um, it's the how to budget thing is a hard question because it's not that I can't go out and spend $500 on a toolkit. Chris and I are very frugal, right? And until we get the YouTube channel growing, nudge nudge, wink wink down there. Super thanks if you until we are in excess of $500 a month, we're living on savings, and so we need to make that go as far as absolutely possible. So when we look at spending money, it's like if we're going to spend that money, what do we get out of it? Like no frivolous spending is allowed. This is just it's being frugal. There's nothing wrong with being frugal, and a lot of people are afraid to talk about that. They're like, "Oh, you're just being cheap. You're poor." Maybe if you want to look at it that way, but I look at it as I'm being very careful with my money and I'm trying to make frugal decisions so that when I spend money, I get something out of it and I'm not just throwing money away on impulse purchases that I'll throw in the trash. So a tool set is very important, but what am I going to build with it? And is it stuff that we directly need immediately? A chicken coop is something we kind of need. So then the cost analysis is, well, is it cheaper to find a different carpenter and have them build the chicken coop and all of our mosquiteros, the mosquito nettings for the house? Or would it be cheaper to buy the tool set and the lumber and do it all ourselves? And right now, the raw cost is it's about the same amount of money. So if it's the same amount of money, it's probably a better idea to buy the tools and the lumber and everything else if it's going to be the same amount of money, because then I will have the tools to then work on future projects. So we're just continuing to do cost analysis and all this stuff and figure out what we need to get built and what we need to get done. Because that's just the first step. Because after we do that, then it's like we need another door installed. I need another bed. I need another base built for the beds. Because this bed has a base, but I robbed this from the master, which used to have two of these underneath it because that's a king size mattress. And I robbed one of these so that I could have one for this individual here in the office. So the master bedroom one only has one base underneath it. We're not actively sleeping on that one right now. So I got to get another base for the bed. We need to get another door installed. We obviously need the windows done. And also in a toolkit, if you're buying a good toolkit, you'll get two drills. One of which drills wood and screws and everything else, and the other one is um, a concrete drill, an impact drill. Well, an impact drill is for sorry, but a concrete drill. So that way I can drill into the block because it's all block construction. So you got to have one for block and one for wood and drilling. So it's weird how that works here. It's different ways of doing things. The toolkits also sell different packages down here in Mexico than they do in the United States because the construction is so different down here. So in any case, we're probably getting to the point where I'm going to start producing the actual video content for Marginal Boundaries because we've been recording lots of footage. And I'm starting to get to the point where I didn't want to share any footage until we had enough progress done in the house that I could show a progress update because it's, like getting a door installed is not a big enough of a progress update to share a video. Repainting the house, that's not enough, which we haven't done yet. But getting a chicken coop built, that's a big thing. That's a big first thing. Getting all of the mosquito nets on the windows and the frames built, that's a big thing. Getting another base for the beds built, that's a big thing. Anyway, that's all the homeowner stuff. Let's talk Weaving the Void and wrap this up because I'm already 35 minutes in. So if you don't remember, our 5th edition tabletop book came out May 31st. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up a copy over at the Patreon page, patreon.com/wandering hermits. You can also go to weaveandvoid.com if you want to get a standalone copy, if you don't want to subscribe to the Patreon page. It's the setting and all of our homebrew rules, which we're using 5th edition as the setting. 5th edition is the rule set. I'm sorry, excuse me. We're using 5th edition rules. This is a supplementary set. So we've got our own homebrew rules that go along with 5th edition, but this is our own setting. And within the book, there's also a level 1 to level 4 prologue module, which is the starter story for everything that kicks off in the world of the Weave and the Void and the genocide and all this other stuff that's going on with the storyline. So go get a copy of that, weaveandvoid.com or patreon.com/wandering hermits. You can buy a standalone copy at the website, or you can go to the Patreon page, subscribe at the Dungeon Master tier, and after I think 3 months, you get a copy. While you're a subscriber, you're also getting all the map packs, etc. We've got Nathan doing. Well, let's talk about this. We're just getting into this new deal that I'm going to be doing with Nathan, where on future content, Nathan and I are going to be doing a trade where I mean, I think I could talk about that, but I don't see that anything. I don't know that he's announced it yet, but um, he's doing artwork. He's going to be continuing to do artwork for us, including map packs and avatar packs and things of that nature for the Weave in the Void. And I'm going to be doing voiceovers for his Choose Your Own Adventure stuff and his puppet shows. So you can expect to hear my dulcet tones doing lots of different voices, just like I do for the Lord of the Rings streams. Um, so lots more stuff coming on the Patreon. So if you're subscribed at the Patreon at the Dungeon Master tier, you don't just get the book. You also get the map packs that I do in Incarnate, the avatar packs that he's going to be doing, and other stuff. Plus all the updates as we continue to flesh out the modules. And Sunday night, which is going to be after this episode airs, but before this, sorry, it's after this recording, but before the episode airs, because this is recording on the 11th, the night of the 12th. If you missed it, so if you're watching this video, the night of the 12th was our first official campaigns night for the Weave of the Void livestream campaign at 8 p.m. Central on the Weave of the Void Twitch channel. And every Sunday night moving forward at 8 p.m. Central, you can watch myself, my brother, Chris, Nathan, Bountycoat, Sparrow, and Skinny playing that world campaign for a D&D setting. Pretty awesome. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Don't forget that the book is the novel is continually being written in a serialized format through the Patreon for all patrons. At $3 a month and up, you get access to the book chapters. Chapter 20 was just published this past Thursday. And there's also the point and click adventure game. And if you paid attention to the expense update number 7 that was sent out to all of our patrons, Joey and I just got a 70% off deal at the Unreal store that we'd been waiting. We'd just been waiting on stuff to go on sale, and they did this big sale for the month of May. And we bought over $400 worth of assets and got them for like 130 bucks or something like that. It was I don't have the math in front of me, but we got a huge, huge, huge deal on all those assets, and that's all 100% paid for by our patrons. You guys fucking rock. By the way, Nathan and Becca, all their artwork has been paid for by the patrons as well. So thank you so much for that, everybody. But the point and click game now is entering into Joey's doing more stuff to polish and flesh out Marin's Rest. And we think maybe by end of July we'll be at a point where we're ready to get more testers in to start testing some of the quest content. So that is just around the corner. And I think that's all I've got to update people on that front. But I will say this. For those of you who have been here following along the journey as I have been growing this YouTube channel from my own personal space of playing old-fashioned video games into something resembling a career and full-time streaming and full-time content creation, all that other stuff. Um, you already know what I'm about to say, but if you're new, I'm gonna spout this out anyway. Obviously, the YouTube supports Chris and I, and that's an important part of if I'm going to be a content creator and I'm going to make money with YouTube, and I love YouTube. They do a lot for me. Nathan and I were going over the numbers the other night, and YouTube has been promoting the shit out of my content. It's pretty cool to see how the numbers actually work and to see how much YouTube is out there promoting my content. It's pretty cool, and to watch the numbers grow, that's all awesome. Um, but everything that comes in from the YouTube is obviously for Chris and I, me as a content creator, and what Chris does to help me on this channel. That is a team effort. The Patreon page for the Weave of the Void. That's a company that was founded by Chris and myself and my brother. So it's a 50-50 split basically. 50% for Chris and I and 50% for my brother. And it's us working together. Now, we also have contractors, Nathan Napalm and Becca. And we're working towards a future where Nathan Napalm becomes a 1/3 of that Patreon pie. So as that Patreon page continues to grow, the first goal we have up there is at $1,500 a month. Instead of only publishing chapters twice a month, I will publish chapters once a week for the book as the novel is being written. Then when we get to $3,000 a month, then we start paying Nathan a third of that. So it's $1,000 a month for my brother, $1,000 a month for Chris and I, and $1,000 a month for Nathan. So that's the long-term goal for that Patreon page, and I'm not afraid to make those plans public. I've told Nathan he's the guy for us for artwork, and um, we're working towards that eventuality. So if you're on board for that, above and beyond just I don't really it doesn't matter to me where you support. Whether it's here personally on my YouTube channel, just because you want to support Chris and I and me as a content creator, that's awesome. And if you love the other stuff and you'd rather do it over there, that's great. Some of you are double dipping and supporting in both places, which is freaking amazing and insane. But I love the fact that we're making people happy enough that they're willing to support us in both places. What we're building here, if you were a part of the Saga Leucemia journey that ended the way it did, unfortunately, then you already know what I do as a content creator and creating worlds. We're doing the same thing here, and we're just instead of doing an MMORPG this time around, we started off with a 5th edition setting, point and click game in the book series. But this is all growing. It's growing into what's coming after the point and click. Well, that's going to be an open world RPG. And what's coming after book one? Well, that's book two. What's coming after this first module, the live stream campaign? Well, now we're getting into full-time live streaming on Sunday nights. So if you've ever watched Critical Role and how their first season went like 118 episodes over the course of like 2 years, that's what we're kicking off on Sunday night. Like the Weave in the Void live stream D&D campaign in our homebrew world of the Weave in the Void, like that's this first episode of a who knows how long season one is going to take. Season one might be 75 episodes, it might be 120 episodes. We have no idea, but it's going to be at least a year-long campaign. At least. We've all committed to it. It's that journey is kicking off. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to go to the Patreon page and get subscribed because that's how you stay a part of that journey. And also don't forget to check out the Discord because our Discord started off as the Wandering Hermits Discord. And even though I have my own little section there at the bottom, Renfield's Refuge, and we do have our gaming community there as well, it is called the Wandering Hermits Discord for a reason. It's all about the Weave in the Void and our gaming communities and the games that we're building and everything we're building with our game company, the Wandering Hermits LLC. So thanks for following along with the journey, everybody. I'm 45 minutes in. That's enough. I'm going to go away. Thanks for my rambling episode. I tried to do this live last week and the power went out, which it occasionally does in the mornings when they decide they're going to work on the well or something for the town. So I didn't want to risk this one getting cut off in the middle of me rambling, so I just pre recorded the episode. I could use a day off from streaming anyway. On Mondays is probably going to be my day off. So um, you can watch this first thing in the morning and then 11 a.m. Mondays in Middle Earth comes out. Stay tuned to that. Till next time, everybody. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. which isn't that much. I do a lot of different things. Hopefully, we'll see you in Discord over at the Patreon page and the next video. Thanks again, everybody. See ya.